Pompeii vanished in a single afternoon. 20,000 people, their homes, and their whole city gone away from the world forever. Ash fell like grey snow for endless hours. Then a burning wall of gas and rock rushed down the mountainside without warning. To understand that terrible day, you have to travel way back to a peaceful morning when nobody knew it was coming at all. Dry gravitas, the year was 79 AD. Pompeii sat on a fertile plain beside the glittering bay of Naples, a busy port. At dawn, the market came alive. Vendors stacked fruit, clay pots and fresh bread upon the long stone tables of the forum. Bakers fired their deep ovens before sunrise as the warm smell of fresh bread drifted through the narrow, crowded streets. Wealthy families walked across the mosaic courtyards, while the servants swept the colourful marble floors completely clean every single morning. The busy forum filled with merchants, lawyers and citizens arguing loudly about prices, politics and the daily gossip of the town. Graffiti covered the plaster walls everywhere. Election slogans, love notes and jokes scribbled by the ordinary working people of Pompeii. Showing the some wealthy, ordinary town. Nothing about that bright morning looked even slightly doomed or unlucky on the surface. Towering over everything stood Vesuvius, a green mountain growing grapes on its fertile lower slopes and on the gentle hills nearby. Growers loved its rich, dark soil because volcanic ash makes some of the finest farmland in the entire world today. Nobody ever called it a volcano, because that exact word did not exist anywhere in their whole language back then at all. Romans had no memory of it erupting. It had stayed silent and green for roughly 800 long years since. Scholars still argue over how that peak looked then. We only know that it seemed utterly peaceful and calm from far away. The lead child of the distant mountain from the bay, quiet and green beneath a bright, cloudless summer sky, on and on. Beauty hid the danger completely now. A sleeping giant waited directly above the thriving, unsuspecting town below its base there. In 62, fully 17 years before, the earth already shook the city with terrible, crushing force, indeed, all around it. That massive earthquake toppled the temples, cracked the plaster walls, and crushed people out in the open streets that year. The city rebuilt grander than before, adding fresh columns, houses, and brand new public temples remarkably fast and with great pride. But the ground kept whispering warnings that almost nobody stopped to read or understand at the time itself, all around. Wells mysteriously dried up, animals vanished or fled away, and the birds stopped singing in the trees completely around town. Dry gravitas, small tremors came and went for many years. People shrugged them off as a common daily irritation back then of life. Nature sent very clear signals, but the whole city read them all wrong. The lesson still stings sharply today for us. On August the 24th, in the year 79, the morning began completely as normal and peaceful in the bright city. Bakers lit their deep ovens, children played in the streets, and the harbour loaded one more ship that very day as ever before. Today is a Thursday midday. The mountain gave a loud crack, like no single sound anyone had ever heard before in their lives. A column of grey smoke shot into the sky, turning into a towering, rapidly spreading dark cloud above the peak. Pumice stones began to fall like hard hail, pelting the roofs, the streets, and the fleeing crowds far below in panic. Dry brewer, a baker stopped quite halfway, and his loaves sat half-baked in the warm stone oven behind him. Just Available grabbed what they could and ran, choking on the thickening cloud of falling grey ash all around them at once now. It is no gaith the sky went black in the middle of the day, and panic swallowed the whole city fast and completely now. For hours, one heavy layer after another of pumice piled up, crushing the rooftops across the whole city below without mercy. Some families sheltered down in the deep stone cellars, praying that the endless falling stones overhead would finally stop coming. But the mountain had not finished at all. The worst was still racing down toward them without any mercy at all then. A pyroclastic flow, a fast burning cloud of gas and rock rolling down the slope at incredible speed and haste. Then you'll be Tutti City not once but in several waves, each one hotter and more deadly than the final last surge. Temperatures near the edge reached hundreds of degrees, and wood, cloth, and even bread burst into flame fast and fierce. People caught out in the streets were buried exactly where they fell, frozen in their final moment forever on that tragic day. In less than a single day, 6 meters of ash swallowed Pompeii, and the city vanished from the map entirely for good. Centuries passed, grass grew over the buried streets, and farmers returned to the quiet land above the ancient ruins far below. The name Pompeii faded from memory, and nobody ever remembered the hidden city sleeping underground at all any longer now. The scholars still argue over exactly how many people died that day. Honest estimates run from 2 to 16,000 victims. Survivors dug through the ash for days, hoping to find family members, and finding mostly charred rubble instead of them. Underground, the baker's loaf turned hard as stone, sealed in silence for 2,000 long years beneath the grey ash. If we can't, vineyard grew again on the mountain slopes, and life quietly returned even where a whole city had perished around it. For nearly 17 centuries, the greatest time capsule in all of history, lay completely and utterly forgotten by everyone there. In 1748, workers digging a long tunnel broke through a wall and found painted treasures hidden down deep underground. If they proposed Pompeii, a whole Roman city still preserved beneath the quiet green fields of the nearby countryside now. Excavators brushed ash from the frescoes, glowing with the same reds and golds as in the past days of glory. Gradually, they revealed the streets, houses, shops and temples, and the whole shape of daily life within the high walls. Then is the Protectus discovery. Hollow spaces in the hardened ash, shaped exactly like real people caught midlife there. Workers poured liquid plaster into those gaps and found perfect casts of the people who had died there long ago. Men, women, children, even a dog, frozen in their final poses, with faces racked by agony and fear of the end. Pompeii is the only place on Earth that froze a single Roman day in perfect detail and completeness forever. Dew is the very streets they walked, drink from the same fountains, and see the very same views as them today. We read their graffiti, their love notes, and their angry words scratched upon the weathered house walls still standing there. The baker's loaf, still warm when it died, now rests in a museum as a piece of a lost day forever now. It is not just a warning about volcanoes at all. It is a doorway into ordinary human life itself, completely. If you truly loved this story, please subscribe and tell us which ancient city you would like us to explore next time around.